And we are back. Another outstanding episode of the Square Table Degenerates. Today, we welcome to the show former Dolphins and Penn State wide receiver, Hawken High School legend, Mr. OJ McDuffie is in the building. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. It's Saturday game day, of course. I mean, we should all be doing great right about now, right?
Right. Dude, football, we're going out to for those in Cleveland, going to McGee's. There's a bunch of us going to be up there. We're going to watch the game. There shouldn't be too many people up there. In Cleveland, we watch the Ohio State, but not like obsessively like down Columbus. But dude, I love college football.
Man, how can you not be? Hey, I grew up in Ohio, of course, and I'm, living in Cleveland area in Warrensville, man, we loved the Buckeyes. Anytime they came on, man, it was about watching them on Saturday and then watching them again on Sunday, man. So what's going on up there, bro?
Well, if the game, and I know this, we've beaten this to death as Buckeyes fans, but if the game was on at night, maybe more of us could go out and watch it.
Friday night killed you Saturday afternoon, huh?
Well, it's noon, dude. I like to sleep in. Most of us work during the week, so Saturday morning maybe we like to sleep in for a tad. You know what I mean? And then they put the game on at noon. So we'll still watch it, but we got the thing. I think a lot of it is everybody's got to pace themselves because there's so many events tonight. Like there's a Indians game later, and then a wrestling thing down at the Convo Center or the Wolfstein Center. So there's a lot of it's a long day today. I'll just say that. Yes, sir.
We love our sports in Ohio. So I think if you're a true sports fan, you handle it all, man. You do the noon, you just keep it rolling, man, and then sleep in on Sunday. You know what I mean? Especially the Browns game on Sunday.
Oh yeah. Well, usually during the regular season, we don't really go out for the big Buckeyes games we go out for. But like next week we're playing Grambling.
You tell me this isn't a big one?
Oh, this is a big one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're getting together for this one. But like next week, the Buckeyes are playing Grambling State University. And God bless Grambling. I'm sure they have great players, but this is going to be a 70-0 game. I have no desire to.
It should
be. You know what I mean?
I hope it is. I hope the Buckeyes go out and beat the hell out of Texas today as well, man.
I think. I'm not an expert because I'm not, but like last year, Arch Manning didn't start over Quinn Ewers, and it's like now he's there. And it's like, he has the name, he has the pedigree, but he's Cooper Manning's kid. He's not, Eli or, Peyton's kid.
Yeah, he's a better athlete, though, than both of those guys. So,
okay.
Man, he's a much better athlete than those dudes, man. And, he's got the arm. He probably got the brains, but now he can also run, unlike those other two you just mentioned, So, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
100%, man. All right, so let's go back a little bit. Now, you were born in Marion. I got a buddy from Marion. It's funny. And you're named Otis James. At what age did you start going by OJ? And did people give you flack because of the OJ Simpson stuff? And did you ever get to meet OJ Simpson?
Yeah. First question. From the beginning, I was going by OJ. Always going by OJ. That was the reason I was named Otis James, because I was named after OJ Simpson. My grandmother named me after him, and my mom approved, obviously. But she didn't like Orenthal's first name, so that's why I got Otis instead. So he's Orenthal James. Well, he was Orenthal James. I'm Otis James, and that's I've met him quite a few times, man. I still have a cell number in my phone. Obviously, it doesn't work anymore, but that's my guy. It was my guy, but until he wasn't my guy.
Okay, yeah. Well, you were in the league when that was going down? What was your initial reaction to that? Were you like all of us? Were you watching it live? You're just like, what the hell is going on here? It was kind of out of nowhere. This guy, OJ Simpson, was out there, doing movies on commercials. He was a popular celebrity, and then next thing you know, he's in a murder case. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So I was, it's crazy you say that because I was in the league, but I was going back and forth to Penn State. So in the off season, I was at Penn State working out, and when it was all going down, so I was just sitting in front of the TV, like just flabbergasted, man. It's like, there's no way this is really going down. You know what I mean? It was the craziest thing in the world. And then I just saw all the commercial opportunities that he and I had possible to go do, just dissipate, me and him running through the Hertz commercial, me running through the Hertz, through the airport, him sitting down, relaxing like a young, older gent that, doesn't have to run through the airports anymore. So, I had all kinds of ideas that obviously didn't come into fruition, but yeah, that was a tough one, man. It was crazy. And like I said, a lot of people, I have people right now, Joey Edibles, man, ask me like, why would you name yourself that? I just told you how I got named. I was a baby when I got named that. And they want me to change my name as well. I'm not changing my name, you know. I get side-eyed all the time when I introduce myself or somebody introduces me and they were like, Simpson? I'm like, man, that's just so corny, man. That's old and played, man. Get out of here with that old ass joke, you know.
Oh my God. Well, the jokes it makes me laugh because I got a couple Australian buddies in the community. And I'm like, dude, you guys got to be so deaf to the sake of kangaroo jokes and all the stupid stereotypical. Right. Oh my God. Makes me laugh, man. Like, just come with something better. You know, come with something a little. It's like when I'm on, arguing with somebody online or something. They're like, oh, do some more edibles. It's like, oh yeah, I haven't heard that one 8 million times. Come with some new shit, dude.
Right. New material. People just stuck, man. They're so stupid sometimes, but it is what it is, you know.
Right. Not everybody was meant to be given a platform at the end of the day, but you know, it is what it is. Everybody gets a platform. All right, now back to Marion. Now I heard you was like a powerhouse from the rip and like Pee Wee football and all that. Now, were your parents and did you come from a very athletic family? What's going on there?
Yeah, so I'm an only child, but my mom was one of 13, and so I had 5 uncles immediately that all played sports. Uncle Homer, who's the oldest uncle, he was great in all sports, man. So he pretty much taught me everything. Every single sport I played, he was really good at it. So I got really good knowledge right away. And then playing against my uncles all the time in the backyard, at the park, whatever it was, I was always playing against older kids, and that definitely helped me when I was playing against kids my own age, from age, football, 5 until I was 31. But even when I was like 10, I was playing with the 12-year-olds in football and, and other sports. So that's basically where it all came from, man. Just the fact that, all my uncles, all they did, and my grandfather was super, super, encouraging for all of us to get out and play sports, get out of the house, go out and do something. And having that many people, you can go out there and play a real football game with that many family members. You can go out there and play a baseball game with that many family members, man. You don't have to look for a competition in the neighborhood. Just right there in the house. So it was pretty cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because doing a lot of these shows, being damn near 50, I've seen, you see these generations come up, and it's like, guys that are playing now. We're literally just talking about it with Arch Manning. It seems like everybody who's an athlete now, their parents were pro athletes or whatever. So like. At what age did you? I mean, you were athletic from the beginning. At what age did you, in your opinion, did you start being known as the good kid on the team? Like when we was little playing baseball, football, whatever, there was always, especially little league baseball, there was always one kid. Even one or two kids in the league, they just gassed the whole thing. No hitters after. We knew this guy was going to do something. I mean, we're stupid. In your opinion, because you made it to the pros, what was your opinion? Where you were like, okay, this is when I started, getting towards that goal kind of thing.
Yeah, I was honestly dominant from the beginning with in my age groups, and the guys I was playing with. Like I said, I played up. Even when I played up, I was still the guy on my 12-year-old team in football. I was still the guy, and I couldn't go anywhere. Once I was in that 10 to 12-year-old tackle range, I had to play in that range till I was 12 years old. So I was dominant as 10, really dominant as 11 and 12. I was like, it was ridiculous against some of the kids that we're playing against. So that was always just always it. And I tell people all the time, man, the guys that make it to the league, they were all dominant at that age. It's like it's a no-brainer that those guys were. Some do late, blossom late, but for the most part, all of them were dominant at my age. When you're playing against the kids your age, and just continue. As long as you stay on that track, that path, man, you're gonna have some success, and that's what I had throughout. And then all the way up through high school. I didn't really get humbled again, Joey, until I, got to Penn State, had to learn a whole new system, playing against grown men, 17-year-old, playing against 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old guys. That was the growth that I had to have. But once I got to be a sophomore, at Penn State, then I was back to, having pretty good success on the football field again. So it was like, at the early ages, dominant all the way up through high school. Then you learn again that, you got to, take a next step, especially when you go in a place like, you go to Ohio State, you go to a Penn State, you go to some of these big schools. Hell, there's some great talent. Like I said, a bunch of us go to those schools. So, they're all equal talent right there. So you got to find a way to differentiate yourself from the other.
Oh, for sure. I would say football is the most, like, you could tell right away. Because, I've talked to some baseball players, and with the minor league baseball, because you can kind of linger around in minor leagues. You hit a spurt, you make it in the majors, whatever, for a little bit. Football is not really like that, not too much. You get, like you said, you get your powerhouses every Pee Wee league. you know who the top two kids are. They're going to go to the AAU stuff, and they're going to go to a school, a good school in high school and get a program, and then probably go to D1 or something like that. You know, pretty young. They do. Yeah. But baseball and some others, baseball especially. Baseball, that's why baseball intrigues me a lot. It's like you can have, I talked to one guy, Jim Morris, the rookie. Just the guy who was just a high school teacher. They made a movie about this guy. And he just goes up and shows him. He plays, it's not too long, a month or two. There's a couple guys like that. Just really fascinating, the career arc. They can come like that. It's kind of funny. Yeah. But back to you now. How did you decide on us? Now you got to give me your guys' thing. But you guys are marrying. How'd you end up going to Hawken? That's not close. And why as opposed to Hawken as opposed to like Edzer of Nations? Why did you choose Hawken? What's the deal here?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So no, I grew up in Marion. I moved from Marion to Warrensville Heights when I was 12 years old. I was going to Warrensville Heights Middle School or junior high for my 8th and 9th grade year. And then my mom, we moved to Cleveland, that area, because my mom got a promotion in the bank. And so that's what made her and I, I was the only child. My dad wasn't around. So she and I moved to Cleveland by ourselves, man. And, so I went to Warrensville. Another situation at Warrensville where I got there and, they had a pretty good sports team. They had a guy that was the best baseball player, football player, basketball, all these different things. And I went right to Warrensville. And next thing you know, man, I was like leading the team in a lot of stuff, especially in baseball. I dominated in baseball there. And I played against a couple of schools that, private schools. Hawken, played against a university school, and places like that. And my mom was like, I would love for you to go to those schools, because those schools there where, you see the parents and, they've got, their CEOs, their lawyers, their doctors. She really wanted me to get that education. So that's why I left Warrensville and went and played at Hawken instead of St. Ed's and St. Joe's, which weren't really close enough to where I was living, at Warrens. You know how it is where it's all.
Oh, yeah. I didn't really realize the Warrensville thing. It makes a lot more sense now because Hawken is right down the way.
Yeah, it's not too far. Straight east. I just had to go straight east to go to high school, and that was pretty much it. So that's how I got into Hawken. We didn't pay a lot to go there. I had a financial aid there, whereas everybody else, man, were paying a grip. I mean, I remember us rolling in on buses to go to school, and some of these kids driving Jaguars and Porsche ladies, and I'm like, God, that's how I want to live, and that's part of my motivation. You know what I mean?
Well, it makes me laugh because I remember like the tuition, because I went to Central Catholic, and because like back then a lot of the schools. I lived in the West Side. I lived in the West by West Boulevard in Lorraine, and back then I don't want to throw a whole school system under the bus, but the Cleveland Public especially wasn't exactly known for prime. So when we moved back to Cleveland at 87, my dad was like, "You're going to a Catholic school." Right. So I went to Central. And I remember the tuition. It was like $2,000 a year. Right. Was that tuition? And now, dude, it's full circle. Now my kids go Holy Name. They got the Ed Choice grant. But without that grant, it's like $13,000 a year for these schools. It's like, my goodness. Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, Hawken. I looked up Hawkins the other day, and it was almost $40,000 a year. And some of these people had 3 or 4 kids that are in the Hawkins system. And they fork that money out, man. I say they can afford it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Hey, gotta do what it's just a different world, man. I'm not a hoity-toity guy. I can't do. Let's get some chicken wings. We're gonna smoke some weed. We're gonna have a great fucking time. Right. I'm not gonna kiss ass and some. You're from Cleveland. That's a very blue collar thing. You go down to Miami with all the the ballers, the Tony Montana types. How did you integrate yourself into that kind of thing? Did you like? Because it's just a different vibe. You know what I mean? It's Cleveland versus Miami, and you seem to fall in love with Miami. You're still down there. Yeah. So how did you? Does that make sense? Is the party scene different in Miami? Oh yeah, man. Vibe and all that. I mean, how did you? It seems like it's a lot more proper than it is up here. Here, you just got sports bars. You just whatever.
Yeah, Miami. The Miami vibe is way different than any other place, man. It's amazing that I was drafted to live down here. And that's why I haven't come back, because it's like, I'm looking at it right now, like palm trees and stuff right now in the backyard and stuff, and I'm, in Cleveland, it gets a little dreary, as we both know, it gets a little dreary. So coming down here though, it's crazy. I just played in a bowl game down here versus Stanford. Penn State played Stanford in a bowl game in Miami. A few years before that, we played against Florida State down here, so it was like, I loved coming down here for those trips. And then once I got drafted, I couldn't believe the fact that I was going to be going where, I've always dreamed of being. So It really worked. I mean, I dreamed of playing for the Browns. That was my dream, to play for the Browns. But when they didn't draft me, hell, I got warm instead of, Cleveland. And so that worked out perfect for me, man. But like you said, the lifestyle down here, man, there's something to do every single day of the week, 24 hours a day, and that could be tough on a young man with money in his pocket and no responsibilities, And so, me and my best friend, Kajana Carter, man, we lived it up down here. We had a great time, man, until we had to grow up.
Oh, Kajana Carter, that poor bastard, man.
Yeah, man, couldn't stay healthy, man. Yeah,
first game of preseason, throwing his AC. My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you were down there. We said, Kajana Carter. Were you there with Kerry Collins, or was he after you? I'm trying.
Kerry was my quarterback my last 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had Kerry, I had Kajana, Kyle Brady. All those guys went 1, 5, and 9 in the draft. 2 years after I went in the draft. But yeah, Kerry was my quarterback for sure. That's my guy.
That was a hell of a team back then, man.
Oh man.
All right, so going back to Cleveland, your high school days.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this article going around the past couple of days, and they list three of the guys. We got you, Robert Smith, and Desmond Howard. Yeah, that's arguably 3/4 of the Mount Rushmore of that late 80s Cleveland high school thing, right? Yeah. If there was a fourth person you were to add to that, who would you put on there?
Ooh, that's a great question. I know afterwards I might want to throw Elvis Gerbach on that team. That was Dez's quarterback, and they had a hell of a season at St. Joe's. Who else did I think about that we were competing? Because I'm going to tell you this. I was talking when that article was circulating, and, of course, I got multiple people sending it to me. I was like, me, Dez, and Robert, we talk about it to this day that we used to get up on Saturday morning and look up each other's stats and see what the other one did on Friday night. Mm-hmm. Well, best thing about me was, Hawkins played half their games on Saturday because we didn't have any lights. So I'd see what they did on Saturday morning, and I said, all right, I know what I got to get today. I know how many yards I got to get today to stay ahead of these cats, how many touchdowns I need to get to, so I can stay ahead of these dudes, man, because they were dominant. And I just fun to watch them play or, hear them read their stats or read the articles, man. So, yeah, those dudes, man, I was loving that article, all of us making it into the first round of the NFL draft, coming out of Cleveland around the same time, man. So it was pretty dope. One going to Ohio State, one going to Penn State, and one going to Michigan, obviously. Penn State obviously wasn't even in the Big Ten then, but now, of course, we are. So it was pretty cool.
Right. That's crazy. I'm going to get into some of that too. That's awesome, man. And the you remember Robert Smith? Do you remember that? Now back then it was called a scandal, but he was like living in Cleveland or going to Euclid or whatever. Oh my goodness! Like why nowadays that seems so ridiculous. Like you told somebody tell somebody in Euclid right now, hey man, there was this guy. He pretended to live in Euclid. They were like, yeah, get out of here. You're not doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's that public school, back then you can do actually, yeah, right. You can do that now, but the fact he was going to a public school, not living there is probably a big issue of us, me and Dez going to private schools. We can live anywhere we want and still go to those schools, So yeah, you're right. I didn't realize that there was such a scandal going on with Robert. I thought he actually, was part of that big old school there.
Yes, sir. All right, so you had to take a couple more visits besides just Penn State, right? What schools did you get to go? You get like 5 visits?
We had 5 visits. I went to Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, and UCLA.
Okay, so you were pretty much all here and then randomly UCLA. What decided you against UCLA, and why did you end up picking Penn State?
Well, I only chose the UCLA trip so I could go to California. Never been there before. Took the long flight out there. Could only be there for 48 hours. I was tired the whole time I was there. First time, honestly, I was ever on a plane. Wow. First time I ever flew when I was like 17 years old. And I knew that was way too far away from my mom. So I just wasn't going. I was just doing that for that. Visited Ohio State, of course. Ohio State was where I wanted to go all along. We'll get back to that. But, took the Michigan trip because both Jim Beckler and Gary Moeller were really, really high on me. And Gary Moeller was coming down to all my basketball games. And so that was a great trip. My mom wanted me to go to Notre Dame because a lot of kids that went to my school wanted to go to Notre Dame, couldn't get in there. And she said, baby, they're trying to giving you money to go there, like, scholarship to go there when all these other people were begging to try to get in there. I just wasn't keen on that campus. It was a boring ass place, and I thought, when I'm not playing football or going to class, what am I going to do here? I went to Tim Brown's Heisman party. It was lame, So I said, this place here is not it. And then I went to Penn State, loved all the guys there. I had a great visit, a couple really good visits. Even before, my unofficial visit was really good there. And I just loved Joe Paterno, man. He was awesome. And a couple of the places I wanted to play both football and baseball. and UCLA wouldn't let me do that. Michigan was, they were kind of, half and half on whether I could play baseball or not. But the other three were going to let me do both, and that was always important because I never wanted to cut off that baseball option. And so pretty much like you look at the Ohio State. The reason I didn't go to Ohio State was my number one choice because they fired Earl Bruce and brought in John Cooper.
Okay.
My mom we did not like Cooper at all. And that was the reason that we decided that it wasn't the best place for me anymore. There's no way in the world I was going to Michigan. I'm an Ohio State guy. I wasn't going to Michigan. I just, went on a visit because they were great. They were, really, really just like showing me a lot of love, man. So I thought I'd go check it out. And Gary Moeller was a great recruiter, man. And I thought that it was going to be, it was a really good trip. And then there's a couple others though. It's so funny. I'll get back to those schools real quick, but I even, I got, playing for the Dolphins as an alumni. We do like alumni have a, honorary captain sometimes for games. And when Nick Saban was the head coach for the Dolphins, they go up and they introduce the alumni to the head coach. And Nick Saban said, "I know who you are." He said, "When I was at Michigan State, you wouldn't even give us a visit." I'm like, "Damn, he remembers all that?" I'm like, so Nick Saban, I'm not a fan of his. He's not a fan of mine. So that's for sure, man. But bottom line is, we go back to that UCLA trip, and just get to how I made my final decision. We go on I get back on that UCLA trip, and then that Monday morning I get a FedEx letter in the mail, and it's from Joe Paterno, and Joe Paterno sent me a 7-page handwritten letter on spiral notebook paper, outlining the pros and cons of going to Penn State, and it was just so incredible that he sat there and took the time. And he didn't say everything was going to be great at Penn State. He didn't say everything was going to be bad. But he was talking about the pros and cons. And of course, he guaranteed I could play baseball after my freshman year at Penn State. And man, that love right there just really pretty much just nailed it down to Penn State and Notre Dame. The only reason Notre Dame was in my final two is because my mom loved them so much. But she let me make my decision, and obviously I decided to go to the Happy Valley and Center County, Pennsylvania, and play for the Nittany Lions. So that's how it all boiled down.
Okay. And you spent you had an injury year, I think, right? Did you have a redshirt year?
My second year, yeah. I played my freshman year. Got hurt first game against Texas, ironically. Since Ohio State's playing Texas in the first game, and so it was going to be about 6 or 7 weeks before I could get back on the field. So that's when they gave me my redshirt year. So that worked out perfect that I did not play that I did play my freshman year and still had that redshirt year available. So it was really, really cool that I did that. And then, I had a couple good years after that. I almost left after my junior year, after the Fiesta Bowl. And then, I talked to Joe, and Joe said, I told Joe I wanted to come back, and Joe said, "Let me see where you're going to go in the draft." So they did their research. They found out I was going to go late first, early second round in the draft. And so that's when I decided to go back to Penn State for my last year.
Okay. And I was looking up some of the stats. You returned, you did some reverses and whatnot. It kind of Saquon Barkley-esque. Was that a good comp? He's a running back, you're a wide receiver, but is that the same kind of role? Who would you, like a current player more who went to Penn State, who would you compare yourself to?
The thing about when I was there, my last couple of years, I was doing everything like you talk about, wide receiver. Sometimes I lined up in the backfield. I returned both kicks and punts, so it was like any way they can try to get the ball in my hands is always what they were trying to do. So, Saquon's super fast, though. I wasn't quite that fast. I'm a mid 4.4 guy. He's a 4.3 guy, so that there's a big difference there. And I can't squat 600 pounds either. So, a couple different differences between the two. But, I'm not sure of many guys there. Parker Washington just left. He did a lot of things that I did. He's in Jacksonville doing pretty well right now. So Parker Washington was a guy that kind of did a lot of things that I did at Penn State. But nowadays, dudes don't do all that. They don't return punts and kicks and wide. They don't do all that stuff anymore. Everybody specializes in something. And so and I think that keeps guys a little healthier. But I just love the ball in my hand, man. Any way you get the ball in my hand like I was at Hawkins, find a way to get it to me, and we'll make it happen. So I played running back my whole life. All the way up until Penn State, I played running back. I didn't play wide receiver until I got to Penn State. So that's when they were trying to, even at Hawking, they found different ways. I did punt return, kick return. I lined up as a wide out, but mostly I was a tailback in high school.
Okay. I only played a couple of years, but I was always on the bench. It's mostly what I played. Yeah. But I was line. But man, once I
out, huh?
Well, it makes me laugh because like my son is a sophomore, and that's when I really started partying because I really there was this store down the street. You know how it was in the city, man. You get a corner store, they sell you booze, they didn't give a fuck. You know, they just wanted to pay the bills. You could just go to the store and buy beer. And man, I really took advantage of that when I was a sophomore. So I ended up not playing junior and senior, and I wasn't starting. My work ethic wasn't there. I really had no work ethic. You know what I mean? But it makes me laugh. My son's a sophomore now. And like just the comparison of me back then, in the early 90s and then him now, it's just so different. Like he's into stuffed animals. He takes his friend to the movies and stuff like that. And I was just sitting there smoking Marlboro Reds and drinking 40s. It was just a different freaking time, man.
Right. It was, man. I get it. And we go back to like some of the kids I grew up with playing against. There were some guys that are better than me, man. In terms of like certain things that, all around sports, I was probably amongst my age group one of the best. But there were a couple of guys that might have been better than me in basketball or a little better than me in football. But they got caught up in not having that work ethic, not having that desire, that push that I have from my uncles. And they fall by the wayside. It's amazing. There's a kid, Alan Jones, is one of the greatest athletes I ever played against growing up, and I just fizzled out, man. He in Marion, Ohio, just fizzled out, man. He was an incredible athlete. So it's just like it depends, man. I always talk about. The way guys get to the top levels is these whys in the road, man. So you're making the right decisions every single time. Am I going to go out or am I going to go home? Am I going to do this? And going home is always a better option. Sometimes you go out and trouble can find you. You might be just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So making those right decisions actually gave me an opportunity to continue my growth and be able to climb the different levels of athletics and academics.
Oh yeah, people don't realize how extreme the guys our age, how extreme the partying is. Maybe it was just me, but like there's one or two life decisions, one or two things could have went this way at a night, right? Yeah. Where I'm not sitting here owning a house. I'm probably living with an uncle. Got a couple felonies on my record. That's just how it is up here, man. Because like when you're bored and you're a kid, you make your own fun. Even to this day, if there's nothing going on, you see tailgating. We get up at 5 a.m, we start partying. Yeah. I get the weed out. We're game on, bitches. We're partying. Let's go. I ain't no time to sit around and lollygag. And that's from 5 a.m. till 4 p.m. You're exhausted by the end of that day.
Right.
I will say that tailgating and partying for a Browns game, anything, that's harder than work sometimes because there's just so much energy. Yeah. My God, dude.
Beat that body up, boy. You beat that body up for all those hours, man, and just, and once you get going, you just keep rolling, man. Hell, we got to keep rolling here,
You got to. Well, speaking of beating the body, have you talked about the kickoffs and being more safe for a little bit? I personally I fucking can't stand the way the NFL is doing it right now. I think it looks like the machine's broke when you're doing it. Why can't they just go back to put it at the 30-yard line? Let's just do it. Are they never going to do that because of whatever? I mean, our kickoffs, did you like the old style kickoffs better? I mean, with these head trauma concerns, I don't know what they're going to do, but I mean, what's your take on the kickoff?
Yeah, you know what? I do like the old way better, but everybody knows that the kickoff and the kickoff return is the most dangerous play in sports and in football. It really is, man. When you got dudes that get up to these dudes are running 4.3, 4.4, and that collision is just crazy nowadays, man. And I think what really boils down to, man, is the concussions. The guys coming down that are wedge busters and things like that. I mean, these dudes are walking off wobbly every single time they go down there, man. They do it over and over and over again. So it's kind of like giving them, I get it, that 5-yard separation between the guys is tough, but at least those collisions aren't as bad as they used to be. And hopefully somebody, I think the field positioning has gotten better nowadays and people figuring out how to return, they're putting a lot of onus on the kickers to put it in a certain area. They've kind of brought it back so there are still returns instead of these guys just pounding through the goalposts, from way out there. These dudes,
touchbacks every time. Right.
Yeah, they're crazy, man. So at least the return game is back to some degree, and otherwise they were going to get rid of it, Joey. So I'm glad they figured out a way to keep it in the game.
And this made me think of a random question. Now, every football player has tried to kick at some point, I'm assuming. How did you, like in position practices fucking around, did you ever, like if you could kick a field goal, not right now, maybe when you're playing even right now, but like could you kick a field goal? If so, what would be the longest field goal you could kick?
Yeah, we used to do it all the time in pregame at Hawking, I was close to hitting 50-yarders, just messing around out there. And I was actually our field goal kicker at Hawk in my junior year. I missed a field goal in the state semifinal game. The game that would have sent it, the state semifinal game. I missed a field goal, and I got fired that year afterwards. So that was it for me in field goal. But I was still our kickoff guy moving forward. So the next year I'd be, just instead of doing field goals, I just did the kickoff, and I kick off and I go down and try to make a tackle. So. But man, we try to do it all, man. Try to be well-rounded, versatile. I never punted, but I did everything else for the most part.
Well, it sounds like you'd rather do a jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife kind of thing, as opposed to just go out here and be a wide receiver. Would that be a fair assessment?
Hell yeah. I played both ways. Dez and I both played both ways in high school. Dez, he was defensive player of the year for the Plain Dealer. I was offensive player of the year for the Plain Dealer our last year. And Dez had like 10 or 11 picks, I think, in that article. I think he took like 4 or 5 of them to the house. So we all try to play both sides. We just want to be on the football field, man. But boy, did we pay for it on Friday night when we're cramping up, full body cramps, totally dehydrated, But that's what it was all about, man. Be as well-rounded as possible. Give yourself an opportunity for college to see that you can play whatever. Because a lot of times when a college comes to get you, they say, all right, we're going to have you play wide receiver. You get on campus after you've committed and they move you to DB or something like that. It happens all the time. Yeah. At least Joe asked me if I wanted to go to wide receiver instead of just making me a wide receiver instead of, making me play running back or play defense. So it was pretty cool.
They did to Teddy Ginn at Ohio State. He started as a defensive back. Well, he played both ways at Glenville, but then he put it when they started, and then he went right to wide receiver. I think it was a good pick, a good choice.
Oh, yeah. Teddy got, 15 years in the league? I think it worked out great for him.
Yeah, love Teddy Ginn, man. I'd like to meet that guy someday.
We had him on our podcast, man. He was amazing. He was amazing.
Nice. Good stuff. Fast boy. That boy had some wheels, man.
Still has some. He still has them. He can still run.
It makes me laugh. I always tell my family, just the main 5. I'm like, I can still run faster than all you guys, and that's just because my daughter's pregnant. The 27-year-old's pregnant, so I could easily beat her. And the wife, she's not trying to run. And I'm not athletic at all. We're not an athletic family. We're more of a chicken wings family. Which, dude, that sounds really good. I think during the game, I think we're gonna get some chicken wings. I don't know. We'll see. What I guess what the special is. I'm a big specials guy. Like I've always been big on specials because like most food's the same, right? They're gonna have the wings, burgers, wraps, shit like that. Give me whatever your special is, and then we can just work backwards from there, right?
Now, are you a drums or a flats guy?
Man, whatever's the special is, to be honest with you. So probably the drums just because they're cheaper. I'm not going to pay extra for a certain kind of chicken, I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, man. Too good.
But speaking of party, man, when you went to college, dude, we got to be real. That was probably the peak of going to college. Like, now when you come home, did you, like, go to the flats, or did you, like, partying with Mike Tyson, shit like that? Like, what was your... you spent 5 years there, man. And Penn State's 4 hours away. So like, what was your whole and your party guy? I can tell you're a party guy. What was your whole party?
Where'd you get that impression at, Joey?
I'm just guessing. I just get the vibes, man. So what was did you stay there and party at the Delta House? Did you come back to Cleveland? What was your whole party life like them 5 years?
Yeah, well, I was never of age to really go kick it and hang out in Cleveland. But I was at Penn State year round. I took classes year round, from intersession to summer session, back to the fall session, the spring session. So I really never left. And that always just lightened my load during the year. We had to take 12 credits of, a semester in order to graduate. But if I would have just taken, fall and spring, then I'd have to take 15 to 18 in those situations. So I always stayed at Penn State and took those other classes, in the off season time. Would seem to be a little bit easier, a little bit more relaxed. You're only taking 2 classes, and then 2 classes, and then it kind of made sense to do it that way. And a lot of guys did that. And that way I can also stay up there and train and not party all the time. Like if I get home in Cleveland, I'll be lazy as hell, even though I like to run and, things like that. It was like we had mandatory training that time, so you stayed fit all year round. So that worked out that way for me. But, at Penn State, you can't drink at Penn State at any bars until you're 21. And then if you're on the football team and you try to go into a bar, they always had the program there. And they're like, OJ, looks like you're only 19 right now. You can't, so they that's how they checked our ID, when it came to the bar. So it was more of a frat thing. And Penn State has some 60-something frats there. So if you can get in and, hang out at a frat, drink some beer, or kept whatever kind of punch they were making. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But I wasn't a big drinker in college. I didn't really start drinking until I really got to the pros, man. Hanging out with these old ass dudes. Yeah, they kind of corrupted me. That's how it went down.
I was a partier from the rip, man. Like I was telling you earlier, man. Right, sophomore. Actually, it was freshman year of high school was when I first got drunk. It was my confirmation. I didn't get drunk, but I had 5 beers. It was my first time.
That'll do it.
They don't even make this beer anymore. It was called Calder's 29. And the thing was they frost brewed it at 29 degrees, and that was just a commercial. But I had me and 2 other buddies split a 12-pack, and I had 5 of those behind the Harley shop over there on 105th. And then I went to the confirmation, and then there was a little store run by a guy from I don't know where the fuck he was from, but it was Saudi Arabia, probably like that, something like that. But he would just sell me whatever, and I just started. So I was being a degenerate. I would get them. They had St. Ides, man. I didn't know at the time what the gravity in those things was. Yeah. It was 8.3%. That's insane. I would get 2 40s of St. Ides and a box of Marlboro Reds for $5.
Oh yeah,
that was my go. We go to the park and we get the Mad Dog too. Get the Mad Dog 2020.
Mad Dog 2020. Strawberry.
I had absolutely no chance. No chance. So like, imagine you're trying to play football, drinking St. Ides on the weekends. Just not going to happen. So my football career kind of died before it started. And I just, I went right into service after that, and fucking hell, that was like adding gasoline to a gasoline fire. That was like adding more gasoline to it, right?
More gasoline.
Oh my God.
Yep, I hear you, bro. I hear you, man.
But hell,
you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you this, man. You know, fun times though. Did you have some fun times, Joey, man?
Oh, I got so many fun stories.
Exactly,
I mean,
right, bro.
Was there things I did that were probably not the best in the world, and I regret? Sure, everybody has regrets. But I mean, I can't sit here, and everybody, it is a life lesson for anybody, man. Don't sit there and cry over if you fucked up. Oh, well, move on, apologize to the right people, and just, try to better the rest of the day. Because, like, you can sit there and cry all day, man. I can say, oh, my God, I can't believe I did that. But whatever. Can't change it now, all right?
Can't change it now, man. You're right. You're right.
Okay. All right, so did you have any idea the Dolphins were going to draft you at that point? Or did, like, what was going on there? I mean, describe your process, like the combine. I don't know if they had the combine back then, but like I went to
combine. Yeah, I went to combine. I didn't work out at combine. I did the interviews, all the tests and talk to the teams and things like that. I waited till Penn State for my pro day to actually work out, which worked out really well because I ended up running, like I said, low 4.4s in the 40, because that was the biggest question mark for them was how was I fast enough? And just all I wanted to do was get in the 4.4s, and to be able to get in the 4.44, 4.45 range was critical for me, because the rest of it's the film. The film told the story. All the tape told the story. And even for my pro day, even though Kerry had another year of eligibility, he threw for me, which is good for him because the pros get a chance to look at him too. Obviously, ended up being the number 5 pick a couple years later, but that worked out great for him as well. So my pro day was really good. I had no idea I was going to Miami. Miami wouldn't even talk to me. I thought I was going to San Diego with the 22nd pick, and and that didn't work out. So yeah, Miami kind of came out of nowhere and drafted me.
Okay,
blow that shit out, man. Blow that shit out, bro. Damn.
I figured it took for another 30 seconds. That's why.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm gonna give you next time. I'll give you more time. I'll stretch it for you so I can.
We good. We good, baby. We good. All right. So I mean, back to the when you guys were played in college, man. You 11 games, maybe 12 if you had bowl games. These guys now they got 15 games, 16 games if they get far in the playoffs, right? One, is this just too many games for these young kids? And 2, will it ever really be the same, or with the NIL and everything else? Is it just NFL junior at this point? And it's just, I mean, the ball's already, been pushed, so to speak. I mean, we will get to the points. I don't know what athlete it will be, but say a guy like Arch Manning or somebody like that is going to get paid more to stay in college than they will to do the first year of the pro.
I think they are already. I think Arch is already making. I mean, he's going to make over $4 million or something this year. I think already. I know our he's making more than that. Arch is making more than $4 million. I know our quarterback Drew Aller's making probably about $4 million now, which is way more than he'll make his rookie year at, in the league, unless he's first round pick, which he probably should be. I think the NIL money is got to get regulated somehow. I think they're going to do it. There needs to be some type of salary cap like they do in the NFL if they're going to do that. But then again, you can't. How do you tell a kid that you can't go make as much money as somebody's willing to pay you? You know,
Right.
you're only worth as much as somebody's willing to pay you, man. And if somebody's willing to pay you a whole bunch of money, hell, I'll go play for a team in Guam if they had a squad. If they're going to pay me $10 million a year to play for them,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's kind of, you know, it's kind of hard, man. If teams are willing to ante up, schools are willing to ante up, you gotta, you know, hell, you got to go ahead and let these kids go out there and make that money. But it does have to be regulated somehow. Hell, SEC teams, a lot of teams around, even Ohio State, I know they were paying players a long time ago before it was legal.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Schools are paying players. People ask me, how much money did you make at Penn State? I said, I made $13 a weekend. You know, we lined up every weekend to get our $13 a weekend money from Penn State. And they were strict about that shit, man. It was crazy to me. I talked to Kajana Carter, #1 running back coming out of high school, you know, and he went to Penn State. I asked him, you know, he's my boy. How much did they give you? They didn't give him anything at Penn State, you know. So it's like, you know, it's kind of strange. But nowadays, these kids, they make a lot of money. They've got money now for parents. Like, so for Penn State, it was hard to get Florida kids to come to Penn State because the parents couldn't come watch them. Now they have a stipend for that. You know, they have a stipend for their parents to come every weekend for, like, I think $2,500 for, you know, nice. So they can make their arrangements to come see their kids. And I think that's only fair if you want to be able to have these kids come there. Not to mention, you know, the money these guys make. I think I think the freshman is like the lowest grade of you know, on the salary. I think those guys make like $40,000 a year, these kids. That's freshmen all the way up to whatever Drew Aller's making and everything in between, you know?
Right.
So it's something that needs to be regulated. And it's like, you know, but like I say, let these kids make as much money as they can. Now, talking about the schedule, though, we played 11 or 12 games. What I don't agree with is what they do is with these kids playing all these games, all these records that they're making are continuing. Whereas with us, it was like regular season records and then there were bowl records. Now, these dudes are playing 15 games, and now they're shattering all these rushing records, receiving records, passing records because they're adding all that stuff together. And I think that's bullshit.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Well, yeah, I mean, if you get a Timmy Chang style offense and the guy's going to throw for 7,000 yards because he gets, you know, 15 games, I mean, who's going to be able to beat that? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, nobody's going to be able to. So all the records that we had are already broken, you know what I mean, back in the day because of that.
All right, we got a question coming in from known Packers fan Hank the Frank. Does OJ have an opinion on the Micah Parsons being acquired by the Packers?
Do I have an opinion? I do have an opinion. I think, you know, Micah and Jerry Jones playing hardball with each other, man. You know, I'm shocked that Jerry Jones didn't want to talk to Micah's agent, but Micah talks a lot too, man. I think they both needed to be away from each other because both of them talk way too much, and they should have gotten that deal done. Micah should be a Cowboy for life, and they both messed that up.
All right, Angie wants your Super Bowl prediction.
I'm always betting on Penn. Always betting on the Dolphins. Dolphins versus Niners is my prediction. Nah, you know what? I got Dolphins versus Packers now that Micah's there. That's my prediction. Even though the Dolphins won't get there, I know it. But I always got through for my Dolphins.
Good old Tua Tagovailoa. How is Tua's back? Is he going to be have a healthy year? I mean, is that a concern there?
Always a concern. Always concerned. Tua is always, you know, when he's in there, he's great. When he's not, you know, the team suffers. Obviously, anytime your QB1 goes down, most teams suffer. I was talking about the Buffalo Bills are the cream of the crop in our division, and they have Josh Allen who doesn't miss any games, and that's why they're so successful. When you've got that, you know, steady every single week in, week out, he's going to be there. You know, that's how you win football games, man. And that's and Josh Allen is that dude. You know, so we got to figure out a way to keep Tua healthy, and we definitely got a chance. So, but you know, then we go out and we get Zach Wilson as a backup. Zach's playing a lot better here than he played anywhere else. Definitely better than he played with the Jets. And we talked about Quinn Ewers earlier. We drafted him in the 7th round, so he's more Tua-esque than anybody. You know, with the delivery, the anticipation, things like that. So, you know, we've got some guys. I hope if knock on wood that Tua doesn't go down. But if he does go down, we got some guys that can hopefully win us a game or two, or at least, you know, go 500 in his absence.
Speaking of Josh Allen, the guy's got that Drew Aller, local kid at Penn State right now. He's kind of the same build. Where do you think he's going to go in the draft coming up?
Well, I think he would have gone first round if he didn't throw that pick against Notre Dame in the semifinal game. I think that's the reason he came back as well. I think Drew Aller is a class of quarterbacks where I think he'll go first round with somebody. I think he's got that type of talent. He showed off his wheels a little bit more last year than I've ever seen. He has a great arm, a cannon of an arm. He doesn't have Josh Allen's speed, but Drew Aller does have some good enough wheels to be successful in this league for sure.
Okay. How soon after being drafted did you get to meet Dan Marino?
Immediately. I was that day. And when I got drafted, I got drafted. I was in Cleveland with my mom. We drove down to Marion that night. There's a big old block party. It was crazy. We drove in. It was bananas. Nobody in my small town has ever made it to the NFL, So by the time I got to my Aunt Tara's house, man, the place was just bananas. So many people. The police came and was wondering what they're about to break up a party, and they told them what was happening, and they ended up blocking off the road so that we could actually enjoy it. And then the Dolphins sent 3 big TV trucks over for all the major stations to do an interview live for me in Marion, Ohio. So that was cool. And then the following days when I came to Miami, and that's when I met Dan.
Okay. Now, speaking of Dan Marino, he was in the movie Ace Ventura. Now, did the locker room and all of the teammates tease him about this nonstop?
No. Everybody wanted to be in the movie, bro. There's a lot of my teammates that are actually in that movie. And then when Jim Carrey came to training camp, man, he did all of his stuff. He did all this In Living Color stuff. Fire Marshal Bill, he was incredible. I got a great picture of me and him, man, that I circulate every once in a while when the movie, people start talking about the movie. I got a great picture with Jim Carrey and I. But man, everybody was trying to get in that movie, man. Not make fun of Dan for being in it. It was pretty cool.
Okay, hell yeah, laces out. That's great. I love that. Dude, there's nothing. I mean, Jim Carrey is that's a treasure, right? Which is peak 90s Jim Carrey is like there's nothing better than 90s Jim Carrey.
Nothing.
My goodness.
Great.
My goodness. All right, off topic a little bit, but you grew up a Browns fan. You were in the league in 95. What was your reaction personally and other players' reaction initially and going throughout the year to the Browns announcing the Baltimore move?
Oh man, that's the funny thing about it. Earlier we talked about, Joey, that I wanted to be play for the Browns. If I'd have played for the Browns, I'd have been a Raven.
Yeah.
Think about that, because I think a year or two later they moved to Baltimore, so I wouldn't even been a Brown. And my dream of being a Brown would have been like crushed because I would have been in Baltimore, man. So I was heartbroken over that because being a Browns fan and knowing so many great Browns fans, it was tough to see them lose the team. But I did love the fact that they fought for the colors and the name. You know what I mean? And sure as hell, they got a team back, man. So I just love the passion that the Browns fans have for Cleveland and that team, and always wishing them well, no matter what, man. That's always gonna be my second favorite team, in the league, and I just wish them well all the time, man. But I'm passionate about those Browns and fighting for those colors and fighting for that name and getting a team back, man. So that was a tough deal for sure.
Well, I just thought about this too. I was getting because you got 2 teams, right? Well, you played for you can't not root for the team that you played for. Obviously, you cover them, etc. But I just thought that you guys, like, people say the Browns fans suffer, right? But the Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl since what?
72.
72.
Yep.
It's only 8 years after the Browns, man. Same thing with the Jets. Jets was 69.
Yeah,
that's quite a bit of suffering. So, but the Miami guys, I mean, there's still a lot of latent hate. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm still not over LeBron going to Miami and the way he did it. I was still fucked up. It was really fucked up. Now he took bad advice. I don't think he's got such a big pop in his head now because of social media. It is what it is. If I was LeBron, I'd probably have a head bigger than my size 8 that I got going on right now. The Cavs had that I'm rocking, but like,
damn. Buckethead.
It's a dome, dude. I had a double XL helmet. It was funny when I played JV football. They had to go back and get the freshman helmet because they didn't have a helmet that fit me in the JV locker room. So they had to go back and get the freshman. Fucking hell, man. That's great. That's great. Yeah. All right. Now Lee Corso, this is he's like 90, right? He's getting ready to retire. It's his last helmet reveal here, probably a half hour or so. Now, God willing, and you live to your 90s. Are you going to still be doing media and stuff like this, or do you plan to retire? For me, personally, I don't know about you, the older I get, the funner, this kind of stuff gets. I mean, what's your take on that? Is it just kind of a play it by ear type deal? What do you think?
Nah, hopefully my last days, I'll be on the beach, man, with a Mai Tai or, what I mean, or a pina colada, chilling. I'm not gonna work until the end. Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to work until they're dead, man. I just want to, I'm living comfortably now, but I just, at some point, I just want to chill, relax, and enjoy the sunshine down here.
That's what I'm talking about. I talked to my buddy about you because of Marion. He said your uncle taught his DUI class down in Marion.
Oh yeah, Uncle Homer, yeah, man. Uncle Homer had his trials and tribulations, man. It was great that he, was able to give back knowledge to the kids, in some of those situations. But yeah, hell, your Uncle Homer is that dude, man. He was a great. He still is. He lives in Columbus now. But just a great coach. A great mentor. He's like my father growing up, man. So no doubt, that's what's up right there.
All right, let's talk some Caribbean, because I know you're a fan of that. Because you moved down to Miami, so you like the beach, you like that kind of stuff. All right, give me some spots in the Caribbean that you like that aren't like the most popular in the world. Like not, don't say like Puerto Rico or something like that. Give me like a spot that you've been to a couple times that you would like to go back to in the future that you really like because it's just like chill and there's not too many people there.
You know what, man? They're quite there's so many islands down here that you can go to. Bimini is always a fun place to go to. We might dip over to Bimini on occasion. I haven't done that in a little while. A lot of people go to Turks and Caicos. Most people I go down here go to Dominican Republic all the time. They go to DR all the time. Yeah, they go to DR all the time.
Okay.
Places like that. Trying to think. It's so crazy you say that, Joe, because honestly, we live where people vacation, man. So no matter where I go, I always just want to get back home and enjoy what we have here. So many people come down here. I've got probably about 8 or 9 friends that actually moved down here because I got drafted by the Dolphins, and they, we're coming down so often, they decided to move down here and raise a family down here. John Carter lives down here full time. Speaking of, and so. But if I got drafted by Green Bay, I don't think any of my friends would have came to visit me, bro. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be moving to Green Bay. So I just, those places I love, but I love South Florida, living in Miami for sure.
We get somebody said joking about Haiti. Haiti actually would be, if they had a regime in there that would be not, so warlike, the Haiti would be an amazing spot.
Yeah, beautiful spot for sure, man.
What's your take on St. John and St. Thomas? Those are my favorites. St. Thomas especially. That's my home away from.
I've only been there on cruises, I've been on a bunch of cruises, and I've only stopped in there for like the day. And they're always fun places to go, but we only probably see the touristic part of it, the things that are close to the port. And I love the areas, man. And, always go get some great food and, some cocktails and, do some little bit of shopping and get back on the boat. So those are the only time I really hit those places.
Yeah, dude, because me and my son, I took my daughter, we've been down there 3 times. I took my daughter the second time. She liked it a little bit, but she was missing the cats. How it's weird, man. I get the opposite family of most. The guys in my family love traveling to the beach and the girls like staying at home.
Right.
But yeah, me and Jimmy go down there and man, you got to go to St. John, especially because they got some of these beaches. That's the background for this, for the thumbnail I use is St. John. It's and you just take the boat over there and you just chill. Weed's legal there too, so you can bring weed. Oh my goodness, I love it. I wanted to go back this summer, but the money wasn't there. But I think next summer, maybe even over the break, I might go. Yeah, I might go over the winter break. I don't know. I've been dying for a vacation. Well, I'm going to London for the Browns game. Nice. I'm going to Tottenham's first stadium, so I'm going there. But that's only a 5-dayer. And that's it's England in October. It's not exactly the beach, right?
Yeah, so the Dolphins did that one time. Yeah, we did that for one time with the Dolphins, man, and it was gloomy the whole time, but it was neat. It was neat, fun experience. Go see your team play. So yeah, and we're actually in Madrid this year. The Dolphins play in Spain this year, so that's gonna be really cool.
Oh, dude, Spain is awesome. I wasn't in Madrid, but I was in the south of Spain. It was quite warm. It was quite hot.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Sevilla, Spain. We were like about 45 minutes outside of there. I was there for a whole month. Oh, that was a great trip, man.
Yeah.
That was great. Because it was Morón Air Base, Spain, right? There was 06. And basically all these planes would come from Charleston Air Force Base with all the like Humvees, where the fuck they're putting on there. And they would stop in Morón, Spain, just to get water, and then they go over to the desert. So our job was just to see if they needed water, swap out. That's literally all we did. And it was a full military trip. And so we had 3 days on, 3 days off. I traveled.
Right. Right.
God damn, I love that trip.
Oh, they can't do that. They can't let you have that much free time, bro. Not you, Joey.
Oh, I know. Well, at that time, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't drinking. I didn't start smoking until I got out of service. I was completely sober. I had a good time on that trip. That was a great trip. My goodness, I got to get back over there. We'll see. All right, we're gonna get into some fun questions here to wrap it up. So we got to get out and get to the friends and start smoking there. I got people messaging me about the damn bar, which is good though, man, because I'm pumped, dude. I'm pumped. I can't wait. I love football season, OJ. It's game time, baby. Hell yeah.
Sure.
All right, so what kind of dishwashing detergent do you use?
Dawn.
Everybody says Dawn. It's the most popular. It's number one.
I got the tablet. So I got the a dishwasher. So I just got the little tablets I throw in there for sure.
Okay. How long could you sit at a library and do nothing before you fell asleep?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. So you're out like me. You're out like me.
Library. This is great. If I need a nap, that's where I will go for sure.
Oh, we had some questions in the chat too. Shit. I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on. There was one about this is a good question that you can answer. Is OJ still involved with the NFL now? What are you're doing? You got like your own show on YouTube. Describe what your media stuff is.
Yeah, I have. We have our own podcast. It's called The Fish Tank. My buddy and I, Seth Levitt, we do a podcast. We were doing it for the Dolphins until this year. We were on their podcast network. Now we're back out on our own, which we love. We're able to do a lot more stuff, a lot more flexibility. I do pre and post game. Well, I don't do post anymore, but I was doing pre and post game for the Dolphins on their radio network. So I just do the pregame now. I'm on the Dolphins Alumni Advisory Board, so I'm still very, very involved with the Dolphins down here in Miami.
Okay. My boyfriend James would like to ask, what do you think of the Terry McLaurin deal? He's a big Washington fan.
Yeah, for the Commanders. Yeah, I love him, man. He should have gotten paid. I'm glad he's gotten paid, man. He's when dudes are out there producing like that, doing the right things, you don't hear anything bad about them off the field. You don't hear any bad about them in the locker room. You got to take care of those guys, and I'm glad they took care of them. The Commanders are on the rise, man. They're going to be a team to deal with for a long time.
Jay Daniels, a hog, right? Man, that guy's a great quarterback. I was down there last year. Went to the, I think it's Landover, Maryland. We stayed at the hotel right down the street, but the Brownies played Washington there, and man, that guy is a great quarterback. Hopefully, he's a sophomore, so who knows? A lot of these guys, when they have a good rookie year, they pull back a little bit their sophomore year, but we'll see. We'll see. What is your favorite airline you've been on, and do you have a least favorite airline?
Well, my favorite airline is American. American Airlines out of Miami is always. I mean, they've got the most flights that I enjoy. I've got miles on there. They take really good care of you when you frequent fly with them. I don't like talking about other airlines, man, but I've had more trouble with Spirit down here than anything. But it's super popular because it's kind of cheap. But they start tacking on all these things. You got to pay for your carry-on. You got to pay for this seat. You got to pay for that. So that's probably a reason why Spirit's my least favorite for sure.
My son hates Spirit. He hates it. He's like, they charge you for food. What is this?
Everything. You get charged for everything.
And he knows nothing about any other airlines, but he knows he hates Spirit. It makes me laugh every time. And let this be a lesson to everybody. Book that vacation, guys, because it's not going to get any cheaper.
Right.
All right. What have you ever been in this question is probably a yes for you because it's fucking Miami, but have you ever been in a Ferrari? What about a Lamborghini? And do you have a favorite car?
I've been in a Ferrari, never been in a Lamborghini. My favorite car, I really don't have. I like the Bentley Coupe. I've never had one, but I that's one I like probably more than anything. They got so much power in those things, and they're obviously elegant. My favorite car that I have personally, and I've had Mercedes, I've had BMWs, my favorite car ever was you remember the GMC Typhoon?
GMC Typhoon.
You have to look that one up. It was like a souped up Blazer back in the day. It came out in '93. I got it my rookie year. My favorite car of all time. That thing was so badass, man. It's fast as hell. Like light to light, it'd light up anybody. Corvette, you name it. Light to light, I'll chew them up because it had that all-wheel drive already back in the day, man. It was crazy. You don't sit there spinning your wheels. You're gone immediately, man. So, yeah, that's my favorite car. I have a Palisade now, a 2025 Hyundai Palisade. Okay. It's the most amazing car I've ever had. It really is, man. It's got all the bells and whistles. I mean, it's comfortable as hell, man. I can go on road trips. I don't like driving past 3 or 4 hours, but I've been on like 10-hour trips with that thing, man. It was nothing. So that's my favorite right now.
Okay. Yeah, back in '93, I was driving a Ford Aerostar. I drove that thing it was a tank. I got 2 DUIs in that bitch. I got in so much trouble. My God, that thing was. I don't know. It makes me laugh because like the door, the side, it was like you see right here, and only the door on the one side, right? But the latch broke. So like I had one of those fucking cords, the rubber band cords. It's like sometimes if I drove too fast, the door would fly open. I was going out with this one girl, Michelle, and she had kids. They're like 7 and 8, 8, 9, whatever. They'd be sitting in the back. Sometimes I'd be like, "You gotta sit over there, kids. No, make sure you don't fall on the door.
Don't sit on this side."
In hindsight, it's probably felony child endangerment. I don't know. I don't make sure.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, dude. That's
Man,
great.
we grew up where you could sit in the middle seat and the front seat. Remember back in the day? Yeah, there was no seat belt shit. We grew up that.
Right. Now it's these kids are strapped in like a space launch. I'll let you a little secret, man. I don't believe in any child restraints after 4. So at the time my kids hit 4, they were not in the child seat. Fuck them laws. I ain't got time for it. It's ridiculous. Nope, not happening. Sue me if you want. Go back and find me some footage. All right. What are the? And this is a good one for you because you've been around for a while. You know some people. Who are the 3 most famous people in your opinion you have met in your life?
Let's see. Well, I mean, hell, you look at the 3 legends I talked about with Marino and Shula and Paterno, and those are layups right there. And then I know a lot of Hall of Famers because I go to some Hall of Fame events. Mean Joe Green, and I mean, there's so many dudes that Terry Bradshaw's, and I met OJ Simpson, hell, all those guys. I mean, I've met so many people along the way, man. So
yes, sir. Sir. All right. Beatles or Queen? Out of those 2 bands, who would you pick if I had you ask you?
I'm not really in either one of them, but everybody knows both of them very well. But I'll probably go Beatles. I like their vibe.
Okay. What is something you haven't done yet you were sure you were going to do by the time you were 60? And what is your advice for your future self?
Well, you know what? I wanted to skydive. I almost skydived. I almost did it one time. I've done all kinds of other things. Man, I've flown with the Blue Angels. I've been to Afghanistan just as to visit the troops. I've done all kinds of really bucket list type of stuff. But I wanted to skydive. It got scratched because it was too windy one day, and I thought that was a sign not to ever do it. So I'm not gonna do that. And my future self, man, just keep living life, man. Enjoying family and friends. Keep your money tight. And just be able to enjoy it, without stress. It's hard to live a stress-free life, man, but as much as you can, live a stress-free life.
Yes, sir. Stress. Don't overwork yourself, man. The way I look at it, I always work backwards, find the end result, and then just see what happens. So go online, ask somebody who's 85, hey, what regrets did you have in life? Nobody ever says, I wish I worked more third shift when I was at 52. Yeah, people are like, listen, travel more. So, man, just relax and have some fun. I'd like to thank Mr. OJ McDuffie for joining us, guys. Appreciate it. It's been amazing. Don't forget to join me Friday at 5, the September 5th, Dan Spivey. He's going to be on the show, former wrestler. So we'll have a good time. OJ, my brother, appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Joey. Have a great day, brother.
All right, you too. And go Bucks.
Go Bucks today only.
Today only.